This is Dominique Alexander, president of the Next Generation Action Network. The Next Generation Action Network is an action network that pushes social change and equality for all races. We are pushing subjects like education, police reform, actually giving the 21st century an actual action network that can relate and answer issues that's going to push us into the next generation.
I've heard a lot of people always use the phrase, we have come a long way. But the thing about it that I ask everybody that use that phrase, on that road, which road did you come from? Which road did you go down to come this long way? Because we have some of the same things going on since 1960 here in Dallas, Texas, where Santos Rodriguez was shot and killed. Since the 1980s, where an 80-year-old woman, Eddie Collins, was killed. I asked, what road did we go? What road did we go? Did we lose the sight of what Dr. King, the road that he was trying to take us down? Did we lose sight of that road? Growing up as a black male in Oak Cliff, Texas, my mother and my uncle saying instance about how they encountered with police and how I walked down the street having my own personal accounts with police at the age of 8 years old. They put their troubled officers in these minority communities. And these officers have a long history of problems, and they pour them up into the minority communities, in the communities that really need leaders, in the communities that have no fathers in their home. We must identify our problems throughout all our local government police departments. We must collect data on how they are handling these minority communities, especially here in Dallas, where officer-involved shootings are very high. We talk about Ferguson, we talk about New York, we talk about Cleveland, we talk about it, but it's happening here. It's happening more here. And it's not put at the forefront. It's not mentioned. Community transparency, community accountability, and I believe the first thing that we can do, and the first step that we can do is execute a way to give the power back to the Citizen Review Board. We know since 2003 that we have at least over 150 of these incidents of officer-involved shootings, and we must create community transparency. One of the things that I have learned in Ferguson is that we're talking with a lot of people, there wasn't a lot of community transparency through the leadership, from whether it was from the DA's office or whether it was from the police department. Just like we saw at a national grandstand, that most of the State Department didn't even know that the DA was going to put out the verdict. They was not braced to be able to protect the people's properties and the personal properties that was damaged throughout the city. There wasn't even a community, it wasn't even a transparency throughout the government in Ferguson. We must create a community transparency in our communities in the city of Dallas. As citizens, as people that have gathered around the country to protest against police brutality, we want to keep our fight to create and educate both. We plan on trying to encourage legislators and city councilmen and mayors to encourage the police departments to retrain their officers on how to use proper protocols on when they have incidents like this. We must encourage and teach our citizens their rights and their laws, and how to approach and how to handle police officers when we have incidents like this. We have currently right now in the state of Texas a bill in the 84th legislation of body cameras. One of the parts in that body camera bill and legislation it has where if the officer feels that it's a non-confrontational thing, he shall be able to turn that camera off. we don't feel that that should be in that bill because of the simple fact is that they don't know when it is a confrontational thing. We must take action towards putting proper laws and putting proper community transparencies through our communities, throughout the country. And that's what my organization, and that's what many of the organizations in the city of Dallas is trying to do. Last night I was honored to be invited to Lancaster ISD, where we educated students from all different age groups on how to handle officers and procedures and how to do the preventatives that we all know as adults not to get ourselves in the way of. So really the police departments, police associations, rather than trying to blame each other on who's wrong and who's right, we need to go back into our schools and take advantage of our students and raise them up and put the preventatives and put the courses and put the curriculums back in our schools on how to handle police and how to handle authority when they come with these encounters. That stuff is not said. The only thing that they get is what the encounters that their parents have went through, the bad things that their parents have went through, and what that does to a 10-year-old and a 9 and 12-year-old child. That makes that same thing be their problem with police officers. So education is the key, and partnering with these police departments, our chief of police in the city of Dallas, in other cities, partnering with the associations and different things, just like we're asking them to do, and partnering with the police academies so that we can train these officers on how to handle these officer-involved shootings and things like that. We need these police associations to partner with us and other advocate groups and community organizations to partner together and really get some concrete curriculum out there and retraining our babies as they grow up into society, into this next generation. And I believe that's the reason why I started the Next Generation Action.